Pat, have you picked the team?
Yes, we have. We got Davey Warner, Usman Khawaja, Marnus, Smithy, Trav, Marshy, Kerry, myself, Starkey, Hoff and Lino.
Right, so no surprises, was that pretty easy one to pick?
Yeah, it's same side other than Lino comes in for Murph from the Oval and everyone's fit and ready to go.
Is there any thoughts about giving the Wild Thing a run on his home turf?
I mean, everyone in the squad you talk about. Lance has been impressive this week, really impressive. But we don't. Every Test match you pick your best 11. Still, World Test Championship points you play for every game, and it's a Test match for Australia. So, yeah, you pick your best 11 every week.
How do you feel about Uzi dumping you in it with Gaza?
I had some words on his shoes. I'm not sure. He's. I'm actually. I think it's one of our strongest points. Our team is that everyone has their own passionate views and individual thoughts. And chatted to Uzi briefly about it today. And I don't think his intention is to make too big of a fuss. But we support him.
Do you expect him to wear the shoes out there tomorrow?
I spoke to him just quickly. He said he won't be.
He won't.
He won't be, but yeah.
Did the ICC intervene in this and have a word out the back with him? Is that your understanding of it?
I think, there was just a kind of drew the attention to the ICC rules, which, I don't know if Uzi was across beforehand, but yeah, again, Uzi doesn't want to make too big of a fuss. I think, his shoes, he had all lives are equal. I think that's not very divisive. I don't think anyone can really have too many complaints about that.
How do you think it differentiates then from, say, taking the knee, which you guys and other teams have done before?
Hard to say. I haven't really thought about that. I know the ICC rules are quite specific to riding. I haven't thought about it too much, to be honest.
And you said that you're supporting him. In what ways are you guys showing that support?
As I said, I think everyone on our team has their own individual thoughts, and I love that. You don't want you want everyone to bring their own individual self to the team. And as I said, I think what was on the shoes, all lives are equal. I mean, I support that.
So do you think you should be able to wear it then?
Yeah, there's rules in place. So again, I haven't really thought about it too much.
What are you expecting for the surface?
I haven't had a look today. Looked yesterday, it was pretty good. A little bit of grass. It's been pretty consistent here over the years, a good surface. So speaking to the ground staff, they were talking about trying to get a bit more pace and bounce than last year. Day one was a little bit slower than they would have liked. So we'll see, but weather's been beautiful like it always is here in Perth, and wicket looks good.
And you and Hoff and Starkey look like you've come back in great shape. You bowled really well in the net sessions. How are you feeling after such a long year and a long ODI campaign?
Feeling good for the most part. I mean, there's always niggles that you're kind of managing, but even just having 2 or 3 weeks off at the end of the World Cup makes a bit of a difference. So being able to get a bit of strength back in, rest the body a little bit, and all three of us are in good shape for this week. And yeah, it's always nice having a red ball back in our hand that does it a little bit more than a white ball at times. And yeah, can't wait to get back out there.
Just the three of you, Josh and Mitch, like you've played the whole year on pretty unresponsive surfaces in India and even England, right? Like how did you guys kind of go about that, and then how excited do you get to bowl on something a bit different?
Very excited out here. Yeah, it's a bit more in our favour. The last few summers here in Australia than perhaps England or India. So we love playing over here. Even someone like Nath Lyon, probably not traditionally a spin-friendly ground. His record's great here. He loves bowling on the bouncy wickets, and these are the wickets that we've grown up on. We've played for a decade on, so we know them really well. We know what kind of works, and it's always nice when it flings out of your hand and seeing a bit of pace and bounce.
Did the three of you kind of get a moment after the World Cup? The three of you played the whole way through bar one game. Like, do you get a moment to kind of acknowledge, what an achievement that was?
Yeah, it's quite a few of us really. I think Mitch and Joshy in particular we're going to be mates for life, I'm sure. So we'll have plenty of times where we'll be reminiscing, and probably over the years we'll get better and better in our own mind than what we actually were. But it's, the core of that group's been together for a long time. Mitch Marsh was there in 2015, Maxwell, Davey, Smithy. Played a lot of cricket, so there were some special moments, some special kind of group photos afterwards. when you put side by side with 2015 or the T20 World Cup a few years ago or the World Test Championship, it does give you a moment of reflection to realise we've been able to achieve some pretty cool stuff together.
So how do you feel when you've won the World Cup in front of 100,000 people and you come back to Australia and the first game is going to be in a big stadium in front of almost no one?
I mean, it's when you're talking about World Cup finals, it's the pinnacle, isn't it? So we're still on a high from that. It's not going to get much better from that, but I'm sure it's going to be well supported here. You know, even some of the test matches you play in Australia, I think the school might still be in here. You might not get the packed stadium, but you know there's going to be millions of people watching, and it's kind of the start of their summer is that first ball of the first test match. So we feel really supported whenever we play over here, and probably after the back of the last 12 months we've had, I've never felt like the support like we have kind of the last month.
Off the back of that, obviously, you know, the test series you play against England and India are generally massive, you know, commercially as well as the attention of the players, all that kind of stuff. But it does sort of feel like it's becoming a bit of a two-speed economy where there's those matches that are kind of the marquees and then the other ones. I mean, how do you feel about that? Because obviously as a player, all test matches are, you know, hugely important to you.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's not really for us players, I guess, to try and, you know, judge. You know, growing up, I remember some of the great battles of seeing Shoaib Akhtar charging in, or you know, some of the tussles against some of the other, you know, South African teams and West Indian teams growing up. So it's not always, I guess, India and Ashes in my mind that are the big ones, but yeah, I can only speak as a player, experience as a player, and every test match is huge. You want to play against players that you haven't played against a lot. These guys, you know, probably half the team we haven't played against, or certainly not in Australian conditions. So I don't know, I quite like playing as many teams as we can.
Did you take a note of the fact that Pakistan, literally while you were playing the Ashes, tried to play a lot more proactive grounded cricket against Sri Lanka than they'd previously done, certainly the last time you guys played them?
Only in the last couple of days, really, where I've had a bit of a deeper dive. I've seen that, which is great. You know, that brings opportunities. As a captain, it makes you problem solve a bit more and think on your feet, which I also enjoy. So, yeah, we'll see what they bring out here. It's certainly the way we like to go about it, especially in Australia. Be really positive in our approach, and yeah, it shapes up as a good battle.
Travis Head, co-captain. Can you talk us through that decision?
Yeah, really excited to have Trav on board as a co-vice captain. He's been playing for a long time. He's always been a leader in our group, so we thought it was a good time to formally recognise that. Whilst you know nothing's imminent, you know Steve's not going to play forever. I dare say I'm not going to captain forever, so we feel like we've got some responsibility to future-proof the team and start trying to give opportunities to other leaders.
Does that suggest then that he is a likely future Australian captain?
It doesn't guarantee anything, but you know we're giving him a good opportunity. So you know when you look through kind of candidates for future captains, of course he's going to be right up there. And I know in my last couple of years before I became captain, being in some of those conversations as a vice captain really helped fast track my readiness. So down the track, might be Trav, might be someone else, but we want to make sure they're as prepared as they can be.
And each leader is different. What makes Head special? What sort of leadership does he bring?
I think the personality that he brings to the team is something that we all love. And I think you see it in the way he plays his cricket. There's a certain amount of freedom to it. He takes the game on, he enjoys it, he's always got a smile on his face. He never takes anything too seriously. He's great at bringing the team together for team morale, for putting his arm around players that need it. And you know, I don't think that, you know, sometimes you can mistake that for someone who's not a deep thinker about the game, but I think tactically he's excellent. So he's got all, you know, the makings of a really strong leader, like we've seen him do for South Australia for quite a few years, and yeah, making that a little bit more formal around the Aussie team.
We saw Mike Hussey here yesterday. I'm not sure if he's here again today. Have you brought in to do anything specific, and we'd like you to see more performers around the team?
Yeah, Mike's been today and yesterday. Yeah, Andre Borovic is having a test match off. He did all the T20s over in India, so just trying to get an extra pair of hands in around this week, and yeah, Mike took the phone call on late notice, and he's been great around the group and someone that we've played a lot of cricket with over the years, and we all love having around.
Pat, in terms of the Test Championship, I know, there was a lot of talk about like the over 8s during the Ashes and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel like there's some ground you can try to make up on home soil in these next 5 games?
Yeah, I mean, we need to. I think we're sitting about mid-table. So, yeah, I think if last kind of campaign was anything to go by, you've got to be able to win your home games. That's almost a non-negotiable. And then, obviously, you've got to do well on a couple of overseas tours. So, yeah, if we want to be in that final again, you basically need to win your home games. So that's ahead of us.
And is there any, just specifically on the over 8s and I guess the speed of play, like, yeah, is there anything you've thought about in those terms, trying to cut a corner here or there?
I think the Ashes was such an anomaly, really. We've never really had over 8 issues anywhere else in the world. Yeah, that was just, felt like a changing field every single ball. Obviously, Lino didn't play the last few games, so there's a lot more pace being bowled, a lot more bouncer plans. Probably even just more intense scrutiny, which makes everyone just kind of step towards things a little bit slower. So we know these conditions well. It's at some points, I think you're just going to be an autopilot as a fielding team, and over 8s never really becomes an issue. And if we need to, Traved bowls overs in about 30 seconds, so last resort.